The sun painted golden hues across the sprawling countryside as we embarked on our spontaneous journey into the heart of the forest. My girlfriend Emily and I had decided to escape the monotony of city life for a day of adventure amidst the towering pines and winding trails. The air was crisp, carrying with it the promise of an unforgettable day. We packed our essentials into the trunk of my old Ford and set off with nothing but a sense of excitement and the allure of the unknown. The winding roads unfurled before us like ribbons, guiding us deeper into the wilderness with each passing mile. Conversations flowed freely between us, punctuated by laughter and the occasional shared glance that spoke volumes without a single word. As we reached the heart of the forest, a sense of tranquility enveloped us. The rustling leaves and chirping birds provided a soothing soundtrack to our adventure. We parked the car in a secluded clearing, eager to explore the hidden treasures that awaited us. Hand in hand, we ventured into the depths of the woods, following a meandering trail that seemed to lead nowhere and everywhere all at once. The canopy above filtered the sunlight into a dappled mosaic of shadows, casting an ethereal glow upon the forest floor. Hours passed in blissful serenity as we lost ourselves in the beauty of nature. But as the day began to wane and the sun dipped lower on the horizon, a subtle unease crept into the air. It was as if the forest itself held its breath, waiting for something unseen to reveal itself. We decided it was time to head back to the car, the fading light casting long shadows that seemed to reach out and grasp at our heels. Just as we turned to retrace our steps, a movement caught my eye, a fleeting glimpse of something lurking behind a gnarled oak tree. My heart skipped a beat as I strained to focus on the shadowy figure that lurked just beyond the tree line. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before, a creature cloaked in darkness, its form twisted and contorted in ways that defied logic. Emily's grip tightened on my hand, her eyes wide with fear mirrored my own. Without a word, we turned and fled, our footsteps echoing like thunder in the silence of the forest. The creature watched us with eyes that burned like smoldering embers, its presence a haunting reminder of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown. We didn't stop running until we reached the safety of the car, our chests heaving with exertion and adrenaline coursing through our veins. As I fumbled with the keys, desperate to escape the nightmare that lurked just beyond the trees, I couldn't shake the feeling that we had stumbled upon something far more sinister than we could ever have imagined. With a final glance over my shoulder, I started the engine and peeled out of the clearing, leaving behind the mysteries of the forest and the horrors that lay hidden within its depths. As we sped away from the forest, the adrenaline slowly began to ebb, replaced by a bone-deep weariness that settled into our bones. Emily sat beside me, her breath coming in ragged gasps, her hands trembling in my grasp. Neither of us spoke as the miles rolled by, the only sound the steady hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of leaves as they danced across the windshield. It wasn't until we reached the outskirts of town that I dared to break the heavy silence that hung between us. "Are you okay?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Emily nodded, but her eyes remained fixed on the road ahead, her mind undoubtedly still replaying the harrowing encounter in the forest. "I think so," she replied, her voice hollow with shock. I can't believe what we saw back there." I reached out to squeeze her hand, offering what little comfort I could in the face of such inexplicable terror. "I know," I said softly, "but we're safe now. That's all that matters." We drove the rest of the way home in silence, the events of the day weighing heavily on our minds. When we finally pulled into the driveway of our small apartment, it was with a sense of relief so palpable it was almost tangible. As we stepped out of the car and made our way up the stairs to our front door, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched, that the creature from the forest still lurked in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. But when we finally stepped inside and locked the door behind us, it was as if a weight had been lifted from our shoulders. We collapsed onto the couch, holding each other tightly as we tried to make sense of the horrors we had witnessed. In the end, we never did find an explanation for what had happened that day in the forest. Some things, it seemed, were better left unsaid, better left buried in the depths of the unknown where they belonged. But one thing was certain: we would never forget the terror that had lurked just beyond the trees, waiting to pounce on unsuspecting travelers like us. And as we drifted off to sleep that night, the memory of those glowing eyes and twisted form haunted our dreams, a chilling reminder of the thin line between reality and the darkness that lies beyond. As we sped away from the forest, the image of the creature lingered in my mind like a haunting specter. Its form was grotesque yet mesmerizing, with elongated limbs that seemed to twist and coil like serpents in the darkness. Its eyes, though I only caught a brief glimpse, burned with an otherworldly intensity, leaving an indelible impression upon my soul. We drove in silence for what felt like an eternity, the weight of our encounter pressing down upon us like a suffocating shroud. Emily's fingers trembled against mine, her breath shallow and ragged as she struggled to make sense of the inexplicable terror that had befallen us. Eventually, the distant glow of city lights pierced the darkness, offering a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching shadows. With each passing mile, the memories of the forest began to fade, replaced by the reassuring familiarity of civilization. It wasn't until we arrived home, the soft glow of streetlights casting warm pools of light upon the pavement, that we dared to speak of our harrowing ordeal. We sat in the dimly lit living room, our voices hushed, as if afraid to summon the horrors we had left behind. "I can't stop thinking about it," Emily whispered, her voice barely audible above the gentle hum of the air conditioner. "I know," I replied, my own thoughts consumed by the enigmatic creature that had crossed our path. "But whatever it was, we made it out alive. That's all that matters." And yet, even as we sought solace in each other's presence, I couldn't shake the feeling that our encounter was far from over. The forest held secrets that defied comprehension, and I feared that we had only scratched the surface of a darkness that threatened to consume us whole. But for now, as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, we found comfort in the simple act of being together, knowing that no matter what terrors awaited us in the depths of the forest, we would face them as one. And with that silent vow, we drifted into an uneasy sleep, the memory of the creature fading into the recesses of our minds like a half-remembered dream. But deep down, I knew that some nightmares were all too real, and that our encounter with the creature in the forest was just the beginning of a journey into darkness from which there could be no escape.